Hello, my dear student friends. Today, let us study vapor compression refrigeration system. As we know that vapor compression refrigeration system is based on vapor compression refrigeration cycle. Vapor compression refrigeration cycle is the most efficient practical cycle. The coefficient of performance, that is the COP of vapor compression refrigeration cycle, is maximum. It is much more than any practical cycle. The reason is that this vapor compression refrigeration cycle, or the VCC, is closest to the reversed Carnot cycle or the Carnot refrigeration cycle. Therefore, vapor compression refrigeration system is used in so many applications like the domestic refrigerator, window air conditioner, split air conditioner, ice plant, and so on and so forth. So let us study something about the vapor compression refrigeration system. The important components which are used in vapor compression refrigeration system include compressor. Compressor is one of the most important device which is used in vapor compression refrigeration system. The function of compressor is to increase the pressure of the refrigerant from evaporator pressure to condenser pressure. The refrigerant is nothing but the working substance which is used in the refrigeration systems. So, the function of compressor is not only to increase the pressure and temperature of the refrigerant, but the compressor is also responsible to keep the refrigerant flowing in the line. So the compressor will receive the refrigerant vapors from the evaporator, and at the same time we are supplying mechanical work to the compressor. So the refrigerant vapor which is coming from the evaporator inside the compressor, that is compressed, and we are supplying mechanical work to this compressor. Therefore, the compressed refrigerant which we obtain from the compressor will leave the compressor and it will enter inside the condenser. So in the condenser, the refrigerant vapor will be cooled, and due to cooling, this refrigerant vapor is condensed from vapor to liquid. First of all, this refrigerant vapor is superheated. So due to cooling, superheated vapor will first of all get converted into saturated vapor, and then after that the condensation of this saturated vapor will start because cooling is continued, and the saturated vapor will be condensed at constant temperature and constant pressure into liquid, first of all saturated liquid, and in some cases the liquid is further cooled to subcooled liquid, and for this particular purpose heat is removed from the condenser. The refrigerant will reject the heat inside the condenser to the cooling medium. Some cooling medium like air or water is used in the condenser, and with the help of this cooling medium the refrigerant is cooled or condensed inside the condenser, and what we get from the condenser is the refrigerant liquid. So the process BC is nothing but the condensation or the cooling process of the refrigerant, and we get the liquid refrigerant coming out of the condenser. Now this refrigerant which is coming out of the condenser, which is in the liquid form, it will enter inside the expansion device. So inside this expansion device, the refrigerant will expand. The pressure of the refrigerant will be reduced and the volume will be increased. Now this expansion which is taking place in the expansion device in vapor compression refrigeration system is also called as throttling, because during this expansion we do not obtain any positive work. So we are not using any expander or any turbine for this expansion process. We are just introducing some restriction to the flow, and due to the restriction to the flow the expansion takes place. Therefore this expansion is also called as throttling, or it is nothing but the isenthalpic expansion, because during this expansion process the enthalpy remains constant, because we are not supplying energy to the refrigerant nor we are obtaining any energy from the refrigerant. This energy is not in the form of heat, as well as it is not in the form of mechanical work. So no energy is supplied during the expansion, no energy is obtained during the expansion. Therefore it is called as the isenthalpic expansion, which is the specialty of the vapor compression refrigeration system. Now after expansion, the refrigerant will enter inside the evaporator. The refrigerant which enters inside the evaporator is in the liquid form, but some liquid has been flashed into vapor, so small percentage of vapor also may be present along with the liquid which is entering the evaporator. So in the evaporator, the liquid refrigerant will absorb the heat from the surrounding and get evaporated. So the liquid refrigerant is evaporated in the evaporator and heat is required for evaporation. So this heat of evaporation is absorbed from the surrounding, and thus the cooling takes place. Whatever area, whatever space is present around the evaporator coil, that space is cooled. Heat is absorbed from that space. If some fluid like water is present in that space, heat is absorbed from that fluid, maybe some water. So cooling takes place because heat is absorbed by the refrigerant which gets evaporated in the evaporator, and thus we get the cooling effect. Now the refrigerant returns back to the compressor after absorbing the heat Q0. The refrigerant returns back to the compressor. So let us revise all these processes. Process AB, isentropic compression of saturated or superheated vapor in the compressor. Process BC, isobaric heat rejection in the condenser. Process CD, isenthalpic expansion of saturated or subcooled liquid in expansion device. And process DA is isobaric heat extraction or heat absorption by the refrigerant in the evaporator. So these are the various processes which take place in vapor compression cycle, and these are the various important required basic components which are used in vapor compression refrigeration system. So these components are nothing but compressor, condenser, expansion device and evaporator. So we are studying the vapor compression refrigeration system. We are using compressor, condenser, expansion device and evaporator. The compressor, refrigerant is entering in the compressor, work is supplied in the compressor. So process AB is the compression process. In the condenser, the heat is rejected by the refrigerant, so the refrigerant gets condensed into liquid. This liquid will enter inside the expansion device where the pressure is reduced and isenthalpic expansion takes place. Now the liquid refrigerant will enter inside the evaporator, and in the evaporator heat is absorbed by the refrigerant, and due to the absorption of the refrigerant heat by the refrigerant gets evaporated into vapor, and this vapor refrigerant again enters in the compressor, and the cycle is repeated. Now some additional components are also present in the vapor compression refrigeration system, but it depends upon the application. Accumulator may be present between the evaporator and the compressor. We know that only refrigerant vapor should enter inside the compressor. Sometimes liquid refrigerant which is not able to get evaporated in the evaporator may try to enter inside the compressor, and this will damage the compressor. So to avoid this, in few applications we are using accumulator in between the evaporator and the compressor, so that the liquid refrigerant gets accumulated in the accumulator and only vapor refrigerant is allowed to enter inside the compressor. Oil separator is also used in some cases, some applications like ice plant. So when the refrigerant vapor enters inside the compressor, this refrigerant vapor will carry along with it some lubricating oil which is present in the compressor, outside the compressor. So due to this, the compressor may be damaged due to lack of lubrication. So we are using the oil separator between the compressor and the condenser. The oil will be separated from the refrigerant, and it will be returned back to the compressor wherever lubrication is required. We are also using liquid receiver between the condenser and the expansion device in some applications, again like ice plant, where when we find that the quantity of refrigerant used is large, and this large quantity of refrigerant may not be accumulated in the line, so the liquid refrigerant is stored in the liquid receiver before it enters the expansion device. Then in some cases, for increasing the efficiency, flash chamber is also used between the expansion device and the evaporator. Some refrigerant gets flashed into vapor in the expansion device itself. Before entering the evaporator, some refrigerant gets evaporated into vapor. So it is not advisable to for the entry of the vapor inside the evaporator, and therefore this vapor will directly enter the compressor. It will bypass the evaporator. Only liquid will be allowed to enter inside the evaporator, and the vapor will be first of all collected in the flash chamber, and from the flash chamber this refrigerant will directly go to the compressor. It will not enter inside the evaporator. So the vapor compression refrigeration system is based on vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So we have to show the vapor compression refrigeration cycle on the pH diagram and the TS diagram. So here you can see the TS diagram and the pH diagram. So this is nothing but the TS diagram, and this is nothing but the pH diagram. So pH diagram means pressure enthalpy diagram. On the y-axis pressure is plotted, H means enthalpy is plotted on the x-axis on the pH diagram, and on the TS diagram temperature is plotted on the y-axis, and the entropy S is plotted on the x-axis. So these curves show you the vapor compression cycle on the TS diagram and the pH diagram. Here the saturation curve is also shown. So the saturation curve consists of the saturated liquid line and the saturated vapor line. To the left of the critical point we have the saturated liquid line. To the right of the critical point we have the saturated vapor line. So here also we have the critical point at the top, and the left side of the saturation curve is nothing but the saturated liquid line, and the right side of the saturation curve is nothing but the saturated vapor line. So this saturation curve is very important, because the condition of the refrigerant inside the saturation curve is a mixture of liquid and vapor. To the right of the saturation curve we have only vapor, and to the left of the saturation curve we have only liquid. So that liquid is called as the subcooled liquid, which is present to the left of the saturation curve, and that vapor which is present to the right of the saturation curve is called as the superheated vapor. And if we are on the saturation curve, if we take any point on the saturated vapor line, then the condition of the refrigerant will be saturated vapor. So let us correlate the TS diagram, pH diagram with the schematic diagram, where we are using again the compressor. So we can see that the compression process is AB and work is supplied during the compression process. So we can see that this in the pH diagram, the line AB is inclined. That means there is increase in the enthalpy. So since we are supplying the mechanical work, we are supplying the energy in the form of mechanical work, therefore there is increase in the enthalpy of the refrigerant. But this compression process is supposed to be isentropic, therefore there is no increase in the entropy. So if you see the TS diagram, the line AB is vertical, but in the pH diagram the line AB is inclined, and that indicates the increase in the enthalpy, which is almost equal to the mechanical work supplied to the compressor. So the process AB is nothing but the compression process. It is isentropic compression. Now second process is BC, that is the condensation process. So during the process BC, cooling of the refrigerant takes place, and due to cooling, first of all, temperature is reduced from B to B dash. You can see the TS diagram, temperature is reduced from B to B dash at constant pressure, because from B to B dash the refrigerant is superheated. So point B indicates the superheated condition of the vapor, refrigerant vapor, and B dash indicates the saturated condition of the refrigerant vapor. So as soon as the refrigerant becomes saturated, you will find that the condensation starts at constant temperature as well as constant pressure from B dash to C. So in the condenser, due to cooling, ultimately what happens is that condensation of the refrigerant vapor takes place from B to C, and for this condensation purpose, heat at the rate Qk is removed in the condenser, and the process is nothing but BC. So after condensation, next process is CD, means expansion, which takes place in the expansion device. So CD is the expansion process. It is also called as throttling, because it is isenthalpic expansion, means there is no transfer of energy during this expansion process. And CD is the expansion process which takes place in the expansion device. You can see the point C and D in the pH diagram, CD line, vertical CD line in the pH diagram, then this CD line in the TS diagram also, it is slightly inclined or curved one, and CD you can see in the schematic diagram also. So this CD is nothing but the process of expansion. After expansion, the refrigerant enters inside the evaporator, and the evaporation process is represented by the line DA. You can see the DA line is horizontal in the pH diagram as well as in the TS diagram. So during this evaporation process, temperature as well as pressure both remain constant, and at constant pressure the refrigerant will evaporate. It will evaporate at lower pressure. Lower pressure means evaporator pressure is the lower pressure, condenser pressure is the higher pressure. So in the evaporator the pressure is less, than the condenser, but the pressure is almost constant in the evaporator, and at this constant pressure the evaporation of the refrigerant takes place, and for the evaporation purpose heat is absorbed, heat is required, so that is absorbed from the surrounding, and thus we get the cooling effect or the refrigerating effect. So we can see these TS diagram and the pH diagram. First process is AB, then second BC, third CD and DA. So these are the four processes which takes place in the various devices like compressor, condenser, expansion device and the evaporator. Now let us again study this. With the help of the pH diagram and the TS diagram only. So you can see here the TS diagram. The TS diagram and the pH diagram. So AB is written as well as 1 2 is written in place of A, 1 is also written in place of B, 2 is also written. So sometimes instead of calling AB, we also call 1 2 and 2 3 as the various processes in the cycle. So what are these processes? In the examination, question may be asked to draw the TS diagram and the pH diagram and explain each and every process in the cycle. So the first process, say process 1 2 or process AB, is nothing but isentropic compression of saturated or superheated vapor in the compressor. So if you look at this pH diagram and the TS diagram, if you look at the point 1 or point A, you will find that it is lying on the saturated vapor line. So it indicates that the condition of the refrigerant is saturated vapor. But sometimes this point may be shifted slightly to the right. Then in that case the condition will be superheated. So the condition is either saturated or superheated. In order to ensure that the condition should be saturated, we may slightly superheat the refrigerant in the evaporator itself. So this point 1 may lie slightly to the right of the saturation curve, and therefore I have said that the condition may be saturated or superheated also. So during the process 1 2 or during the process AB, compression takes place. This compression is isentropic compression, and before compression the condition is saturated or superheated. Vapor is being compressed in the refrigerant, in the compressor, and the refrigerant is the working substance which is used in the refrigeration systems. So that is compressed during the first process 1 2. Second process 2 3 or BC is isobaric heat rejection in condenser. In the condenser, heat is rejected, and due to that condensation of the vapor takes place. Now condensation starts at point 2 dash and stops at point 3. At point 2 condensation will not start because point 2 represent the superheated condition. So if we cool the refrigerant which is present at point 2, that is the superheated condition, then first of all the condition of the refrigerant vapor will change from superheated one to saturated one, and the temperature will be reduced from T2 to T2 dash. So there is no change in phase, there is no condensation up to 2 dash, but beyond 2 dash, if cooling is continued beyond 2 dash, then the process 2 dash to 3 takes place. That means the condensation takes place. So this condensation is shown by the line 2 dash 3 or B dash C, and that is nothing but the at constant pressure condensation of the refrigerant vapor takes place from vapor, that is saturated vapor, to saturated liquid. But if you continue the cooling beyond point 3, then we can go in the subcooled region. The third process is process 2 3 3,4 or CD, that is isenthalpic expansion of saturated or subcooled liquid in the expansion device. So the liquid may be saturated or subcooled after condensation, and that is entering inside the expansion device, and the process 3,4 occurs, and the process 3,4 is nothing but the expansion, isenthalpic expansion of the saturated or subcooled liquid which takes place in the expansion device. And finally, the fourth process 4,1 or DA is nothing but the isobaric heat extraction, heat absorption by the refrigerant in the evaporator. The heat is absorbed by the refrigerant in the evaporator because the refrigerant gets evaporated in the evaporator and heat is required for evaporation. So the heat of evaporation is absorbed by the evaporating refrigerant in the evaporator, and thus evaporation takes place, and again the refrigerant will enter inside the compressor and the process 1,2 will take place, and thus the cycle goes on repeating. So thank you, my dear friends.